you know, they don't address what Gary was talking about. And so I think, I don't want to say they're a failed model, but I don't see a future for them unless you address things like, if we've got to pay 8% tuition increases plus transportation costs, we're just going to make less spots available, and you're going to see more towns in that situation. I know Bridgeport has the same situation with its schools now. They've said, okay, we're going to charge tuition. And now there's a bill in the legislature to prevent it outright, and you're going to have the feeder towns saying, well, no, either you excuse us from paying tuition, or we're not sending our kids. So,
Jody, you want to jump in there?
From the superintendent's desk again, and I like Mike's comment about cannibalizing, because you know, superintendents, we want to get along. This is a Connecticut. It's not a Hampton issue. It's not a New Haven issue. It's a Connecticut issue. But the way this looks from a superintendent's seat is, I get a phone call in April saying the state is cutting support to magnet schools. We're going to need to charge you $1,500 per student to send your kids to our magnet schools. And I don't have any say in keeping those kids, because parents make the decision to send a Hampton child to a magnet school. So from a public policy standpoint, we are an integrated school district. It's a diverse school district. We are, in a lot of ways, we are a model community for what Connecticut really needs to do in terms of communities. There are a lot of issues. We can resolve those issues. But we're sending kids. We could educate to New Haven's magnet schools, and now we're paying about $500,000 out of our budget to support those students in New Haven magnet schools. It doesn't make any sense from a public policy standpoint. You know, if you're talking about Sheff versus O'Neill, and even the director of CREC, when he retired, said that was a bad investment, the magnet schools. It would have been better if we put more money into choice, and that was a much better investment for the state.
Let me ask Len Fasano, are magnet schools on the way out? Are charter schools the new magnet schools? Is sort of the alternative to traditional public schools?
I don't know. I'm going to be honest.
Right, but that, Len, you're in charge now.
No, I don't. Look, I don't understand. You know, student population is going down in the state. They're competing for students and so forth, and so they're competing for dollars. It seems like we have set up a system that in some of our public schools, from what I hear from talking to people, particularly in New Haven, is kids, when the parents are involved, who go either to charter or to magnet school. Either it's a kid who has an A-type personality, just inherent ability, and will make the applications and follow through and so forth, or a parent who has that personality. And what I hear from the teachers is, therefore, the pool that could be left in a public school may be a pool that's not so supportive by a family as Gary has with his child. And then it's an unhealthy environment for the kids that are left in those public schools, which then says to me, why are we doing this? There's got to be a better way than having more competition and dollars divided more among the school systems. Doesn't seem to me an effective way.
So what does that mean?
If the argument is, and I think it is correct, we're all Connecticut people, we all care about our kids. Education is the greatest opportunity to equalize people, and we should be focusing on that. And that's my view.
So what's that going to mean for charter funding? Now, one of the biggest battles the state legislatures every year, and it's going to be this year too, is whether you're going to increase funding that follow the students, so that if you go to a charter school, you get the same money per child there, sent there as you do to a traditional public school, whether you're going to approve more charters. Do you see that? How do you see that playing out in this session, and where do you stand on it?
Well, I think Governor Malloy has made it clear from the past budgets that we have negotiated that cutting charter schools is a non-starter for him with respect to any negotiations. He has made that abundantly clear.
What about expansion, and what about increasing the payments per child?
You know, I don't, going back in conversation, it was when we had our budget deficit going back 2 years ago and trying to figure it out and coming up with different ideas, that's a line item you cannot touch.
Meaning what, you can't increase it or decrease it?
You cannot decrease it. We weren't talking about increasing any line item.
Will there be movement to increase it this year?
I don't know. We're a $1.8 billion deficit.
It's 1.8 now?
Yeah, it's between 1.5 and 1.8, depends on...
So every time you guys come in, it's another few hundred.
Well, now it's 1.9. We just got to tell you.
But I thought revenues are going up.
Well, sales tax is going down. Corporate tax went up a little bit. But really the
You
reason
better
why,
pass the budget before it goes up anymore.
well, the reason why we don't have a deficit primarily is due to the fact that the Attorney General settled like $165 million worth of cases. And we had a $21 million payment by a corporation for some DRS issues. So that's the reason why we have no deficit or very little
So what
deficit.
you guys have been saying is structurally there's a deficit that's going to get bigger and bigger.
taxes.
You can't count on time.
So what's this going to mean for
They
the
pay
charter
their
debate?
taxes.
What is going to be the charter debate
I
session?
got caught.
I think the charter debate has to be part of the debate of ECS and funding for all the other schools that we have. I can't see expanding the charter program because if you can't hold your promises to what you have now, how can you tell people to have faith and promise that we're going to add other charter schools and be able to fund that?
In what way have the promises not been kept?
We're not funding, we just took back ECS funding, 20 million, I shouldn't say we. The governor cut to towns $20 million of ECS funding. And I will tell you, as of 3 o'clock today, the 4 leaders of the various caucuses got together about trying to put that money back, which is a bipartisan effort because we shouldn't be cutting towns. So if you're cutting ECS funding, you're not keeping a promise. You can't tell a town halfway through, right? You know, Mike, hey, we just cut so much millions of dollars out of your budget, go find it someplace else. That's wrong. And that's what Governor Malloy